I am so thrilled to be with you today for our live training, Divine Awakenings. And for those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm Sherry Nichols, and it is again my honor and my pleasure and my privilege to be with you today. The focus of these trainings are to really help move through all the ways in which we disconnect from our true essence and to heal those parts of us that are experiencing pain or unhappiness or discontent or anxiety or stress, which is so prevalent in our society today. Speaking of which, we are going to be focusing today's training on peace. So let's look at peace. It's one of the fruits of the Spirit. It is one of the things in which we are really divinely given, and yet it is up to us to stay connected to it. And so we're going to look at that today. We're going to unpack how we can really connect more to a place of peace, what it is, and what takes us away from it. And I want to start with a story. Debbie was having some personal issues, as most of us have in our life. She was really struggling with something that was going on in her life that was very dear to her, and she just wanted to find some peace. So she decided to go to a park and to meditate. Right? In her mind, that was going to be a peaceful environment, and she was going to find the solution to what was going on for her in her life and really clear her mind of all of the irritation and the hurt and the agitation and the anxiety and the stress. So she goes to the park and she finds this beautiful tree, this beautiful shady tree. It's a gorgeous day out. She sits under the tree. She puts her blanket down, she sits down, and she closes her eyes. And as soon as she closes her eyes, a dog comes running over and tries to get her attention. And there's a sports team, young boys, that are using the field to practice for a game. And their coach is loud, and they've decided to set up camp very close to where she's sitting. And on top of which, they decide to do their practice training exercises, going around her, not being respectful of her space, and just really being pretty self-absorbed in what they were doing. And she found herself, instead of finding peace, she found herself getting more and more agitated and irritated by all that was going on in the outer world, dogs barking, all sorts of things that were really vying for her attention, pulling her out of that meditation. And so think about this for yourself. Have you ever been in a spot like that where you really wanted to clear your mind and you had the perfect idea of how to do that, but when you got there, all these external circumstances were pulling you out of it? And maybe you're in that right now, where it's hard for you to find peace because of your external circumstances. She knew that the way in was the answer to peace, but she was having a struggle with it. And she stayed with it. And so before long, she was absolutely delighted with an insight. And it had to do with going within to find the stillness, going within to find that love within the heart. She was able eventually to find more peace for herself. So let's unpack this and look at the steps that are required in order for us to create more peace in our life. And so the first step is to recognize that peace is, as I said, it's a fruit of the Spirit. So it's our birthright to have peace in our life. And so we want to understand that peace is something that is found within. A lot of times we look outside of ourselves to find peace. If this person would only do or say the things that we would like them to do or say, to act the way we want them to act, then we could be at peace. Sound familiar? I certainly have been in that space. But the problem is we will never find peace looking externally for it. That's the first step, is to understand that peace always comes from within. That still center. Think about a tornado or a hurricane. They call it the eye of the storm, where there's all the chaos that's circling, but in the very, very center of that storm, there is a stillness. There is a peace. And that is where we want to go, not being stirred within, no matter what is going on outside of you. And so we recognize that true peace can only be found within, in that stillness, in our heart center and God's presence. The second step is all about tapping in and connecting to that heart center. So truly looking at what is pulling you into that external world. So we look at Debbie and what was pulling her into that external world. She thought she had set up the perfect environment for her to dive inward, and yet there was chaos around her. So there's a choice of allowing yourself to be pulled away by what's being chaotic around you, or choosing to go inward and connect to that still point, connect to the peace of that divine love that is within you. And so think about this for yourself. What is it that is pulling you away from peace? The psychologist recently came out with this fact that it used to be that depression was the big emotional drag on people. But in the last few years, guess what it is? Anxiety. Yeah. Uncertainty. Not being able to know what the future holds, or what's the situation that you're currently in. How's that going to play out? What's that going to look like for me? And that creates a lot of wobble. And then we're constantly looking outside of ourselves to try to be informed about how our future is going to go. And that's where we make the mistake, because you will never, ever find that calmness in people or circumstances around you. So you have to go within. You have to go within. You have to find that still point, and you have to hop into that different frequency. Right? The frequency that is above the chaos that is surrounding you. Like Einstein said, you have to find a different frequency. And so then the third step is focusing on the light and the divine love within. That love that is there for us, that is greater than any love we could ever know. And that love is the love of God, the love of Jesus that is right there. For me, it is really all about connecting to that love that Christ has for us, that is within our heart. So whatever that is for you, what you call it, but it is the Spirit, it is divine love that is living within us. And so in order for us to truly find that peace, we must first understand it's within us. Secondly, look at what is it that's pulling us away from it. And then thirdly, find that solution. Really claim that you are going to step in and you are going to connect to the peace that is residing within you. It is always there. It has not gone anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. It is about making a choice and really saying yes to allow yourself to be held in that peace, to allow yourself to understand that you cannot control your external world. The more you try to control it, the more it's just going to rise up and cause irritation, agitation, frustration, and further anxiety. So being able to surrender those things that are taking you away from that peace, to surrender and let yourself be held in the arms of love, in the arms of divine love that is always within your heart space. A quick tool to use for that is breath, breathing, 3 breaths, finding that space, really allowing yourself to focus on the breath and find that space of peace. Try it. And if you find that you're still having the monkey mind, which is absolutely, you're not alone. We all experience it. And you'd really like to release those things that are pulling you away from your peace, the patterns that you have, the habits that you have, the desire to control everything around you so that you can feel peaceful about it. Understanding that those things will not bring you to peace. If you really want to move through those things and you really want to release them, DM me. Reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation with you to support you in the best way I know how to help move you through those ways of being that keep you from your peace, which is your birthright, the fruit of the Spirit. Much love to you. Bye for now.